The field of infinite possibilities explained. Okay, this is going to be one of my favorite videos in this module because I get to explain how I believe the universe works, and it's so much fun and it's something interesting and probably something you haven't had explained to you before. So let's dig into it. In this video, I'm going to introduce a concept that might be unfamiliar. This is an explanation of how the infinite field of possibilities operates. Knowledge of how the infinite field of possibilities operates allows you to navigate that field and create the life that you desire. This is just the introduction, and each module in this course will further your knowledge of the infinite field's operation and how to use that knowledge to your favor. Infinite field of possibilities, which I like to call the field for the sake of this video, contains all the events possible, everything that ever was, could be, or will be. Your thought energy is what determines which part of this field that you materialize. Everyone is free to choose whichever path they want to take, and I plan to show you how. Everything that is for us has already been created and already exists. It's been created by source energy, or the one infinite mind, for our benefit and experience, and for the expansion of the universe. No one can stop you from choosing the life that you want. Some people believe that life is set, or destiny is unchangeable. But this is a challenging belief, because how do we explain why some people have so much and others have so little? Life seems quite unfair with this mindset, right? When people feel like they have been given less than others, they hold the belief that we are destined to a specific fate, they begin to believe in ideas like karma and payment for inequalities and wrongs done. They may even turn to formal religion and believe that those who suffer will be rewarded in the next life, or that others will pay for their sins. If a person clings to the belief that our destiny is not changeable, then the only thing they can do is just accept it, right? How depressing is that? Other people have a belief that you create your own way in the world through hard work and effort. But this view is not without its flaws either, because we all know people who give it their all with all the effort they can muster, and they still can't achieve everything they want, right? So those two options so far, we just accept what we have, that life is what it is, or we fight for what we want with no real assurance that we get it. What if there's another option? There is another way, and it's as easy as it is fun, right? The key lies in understanding how the universe operates in a different way than you have in the past. It may take a while to explain, but I have 9 modules here to do so, and that's what I'm going to do. So, the truth is, any model of how the universe works that has been put forward so far is partially correct and partially incorrect, right? Take this for example. If 3 people were to observe a butterfly in all its stages of life, one might say it's a worm, one might say it's an unmoving cocoon attached to a tree branch, and yet another person would describe it as a beautiful creature with colorful wings and a graceful flight. And all 3 would be partially correct, right? And the universe is much, much, much more complex than a butterfly, and trying to explain it with our limited understanding is always going to be incomplete. The universe is multifaceted, and complete knowledge of it is simply beyond our human understanding. But the explanation that I'm going to share with you from my study is probably different from what you've heard before. And just because it's different, and the other explanations have some truth, does not mean that this alternative explanation is wrong. So have an open mind, right? If you decide fate is predetermined and unchangeable, you're going to experience that because you program yourself in a way to live that belief out. If you believe success is possible, but takes hard work, you're going to program that into your reality also, right? So what you choose to believe is what you're going to manifest and create in your life. In this alternative explanation, reality manifests itself in infinite diversity of ways. All of the possibilities start with one source energy, as I like to call it. I also call in the one infinite mind. Source created the infinite field of possibilities for us, and we are a part of Source. This field was created so we can experience things, right? Such as life as a human. It was created so Source can experience those things through us, right? This infinite field contains all possibilities of anything that could ever be, ever for, or ever did happen, right? Literally, anything is possible, and the field is infinite. Not only is it infinite, but the field exists in its entirety at the same time, which means that everything that happens exists at the same time. Everything exists now. There is only the right now. This explanation is going to help you understand the teachings that come in later modules, okay? The field is an infinite data field that serves as a grid for movement of matter in time and space. Each point in the field contains a variation of any given event, including the players, the environment, and the script. The script in any given sector of the field is the path that matter moves along. If you switch from one timeline to another one that's close by, the script will be pretty similar, but slightly different. If you manage to move to a timeline further away from your current timeline, the script is much different. The greater the distance between the two timelines, the greater the difference between the script, the players, and the environment of those timelines. So that's an important concept, okay? In theory, there are no limits to the possibilities and how your life can turn out, right? Because the field is infinite. Even the smallest event, however insignificant you might think it is, can affect the outcome of your life. However, because of how the infinite field works, and because timelines close together have similar outcomes, we generally stay on a similar path. That's why we have to understand how the universe works and how the infinite field works, so we know how to alter our timelines and flow onto the timeline that we want. When an event occurs that changes the outcome of our life, we shift timelines. In a later module, I'm going to talk about the signs that signify a change. But for this module, I just want to lay out how the infinite field is set up and how it works. In the infinite field, one thing that we choose is where we start. That's our entry point into the infinite field. We choose that before we incarnate on Earth. We start or enter at that point where we are born, in a specific time, in a specific place, with a specific family and a specific culture. This gets us started on our path. But where we choose to go from there and what timelines we flow to depends on many things, and I will talk about those in coming modules. Why this all works is because source energy is just that. It's energy. We are also a part of that energy. We are light, and so is source. And so is the infinite field of possibilities. Everything is made up of energy. Even what we know as solid matter in our 3D reality is made up of light. The chair you're sitting on feels solid, but it's made up of atoms with protons and neutrons zipping around the nucleus, right? And those atoms are energy, just as your chair is energy and just as you are energy. I'm not going to get into the physics too much because that's not my zone of genius. My passion is, of course, to be a spiritual guide or a spiritual mentor. To understand these things that I study and in turn teach them to you. That's my passion, my purpose. So that is my purpose here on Mother Gaia. I did not come up with these ideas. I studied others who are specialists in their zone of genius so I can bring these ideas to you. The idea behind the field of infinite possibilities comes from a hefty 600-page book called Reality Transurfing. It was originally written in Russian, but has been translated, and I've studied that and studied that and studied that, and I still study it often. And the person who wrote the book received the knowledge as a download in a dream state. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there. So let's continue. Our material manifestation in this 3D Earth moves through this infinite field of possibilities. But the field of possibilities itself is static. That is, it does not move. It is an infinite set of still frames, set up in sequence to create the illusion of time that we feel and experience in our reality. So think of it this way. Remember when movies were projected from film and they weren't digital, where light passed through each frame to create the appearance of movement on the screen? Each frame is still, just like each of the infinite points in the field is still and unmoving, but we instead move along the timeline. I guess each timeline can be likened to the strip of film, and when we switch timelines, we switch to a different length of film, with a slightly different movie playing. This is how the past can exist now, and how our future is set before us, depending on which timeline we choose to follow. The future, our future, it exists right now on one of those strips of film. But we still have to choose which strip of film we're going to follow. So nothing ever disappears from the infinite field. The film strip or timeline you're currently on is what is manifesting and materializing in your life right this red hot minute. You are the light that is lighting up and physically manifesting the 3D portion of the timeline that you're on, if that makes sense. But the events that are possible, future, past, and present, they already exist. So when I say you, that includes your thoughts. Our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and expectations put us on specific timelines. The specific timeline they put us on is changeable and is based on matching vibrations. So we're set on timelines that match the vibration of our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and expectations. And this is what I'm going to be going into in the next modules in this course. Our thought energy interacts with and selects from the infinite field of possibilities what actually materializes in our life. It's our thought energy, our vibration, that does the choosing. Our thought energy lights up the sector of the infinite field of possibilities that match our vibration at a current moment. So to be clear, I'm not talking about thought as is commonly known. When I say thought, what I mean is vibration. Our vibration has something to do with how we think, how we feel, and what we believe, what we embody, and what we expect. So all those are what I mean when I say thought. You cannot simply sit there and think thoughts and land on the timeline you want. I know there's a few teachers out there who say this, but it hasn't worked for me, and maybe you have experienced frustration with this too. Don't worry too much about this now, because we're going to go into detail soon. I just want you to be aware that we will be working with thought, feeling, belief, embodiment, and expectation. Those all intersect to allow us to maneuver to the timeline that we desire. You may have also learned that your thoughts create your reality. And in a sense, this is true, but not completely. There are trillions of entities and beings, humans, animals, etc., that make up this 3D reality alone. They each have their own creating thought energy, and we actually co-create reality with them, while at the same time all being able to shift to alternative timelines, because the possible timelines are infinite. Our personal experience depends on what particular timeline we are lighting up at any given moment, or what frame of film we are viewing on the strip at any given moment. Our thought energy flows out beyond the brain and interacts with the infinite field of possibilities around us. You know that thought energy can flow beyond your brain because there are techniques now that can read the minds of thoughts from outside the brain. And I'm sure you've seen these in the news, right? So just one article states, using functional MRI, a newly developed brain-computer interface can read a person's thoughts and translate them into full sentences, according to a report published May 1st, 2023 in Nature Neuroscience. So there's no doubt that our thought energy travels and radiates outwards, right? Many people are called conspiracy theorists. Sorry for the interruption. So there's no doubt that our thought energy travels and radiates outwards. Many people are called conspiracy theorists for this, but I believe your pineal gland is both the receiver and transmitter of this energy. I also believe that the space around us is not empty space, but is part of the field, just as we are part of the field. And that field is source energy. Your energy is tuned by your thought energy. Remember, thought energy includes thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and expectations. Your energy tunes to a specific frequency, just like a radio dial tunes to a specific station. Your thought energy is your radio tuner, and you can dial in to whichever part of the infinite field of possibilities your thoughts are dialed into. And that is, in fact, how you select timelines. This is why, if you're having a bad day, it tends to continue. Your thought energy is tuned into a frequency of bad things happening. Missing keys, being late for work, getting an unexpected bill, a kid getting sick. You're tuned into the bad feeling, and your thought energy goes out into the field, and you receive more bad feelings because your vibration is tuning into that timeline that matches your feeling. It's as if you tuned your radio station to the bad news radio station. But you can always change the station just like you can with your car radio, right? Speaking of car radio, I highly recommend you be careful of the media that you consume and feed your mind with positive things. There are many bad things we can tune into, right? And I'm sure that you've seen them out there. But there's also many positive things too. So why not turn the news off and tune into what's good out there. Find something more uplifting to watch. To tell you the truth, I stopped watching the news a long time ago. I got really choosy with which social media accounts I follow, and I only interact and follow accounts that lift me up and help me feel happy. And if I'm being honest, which I want to be with you guys, I avoid negative people. And that includes some family members, to tell you the truth. If I can't avoid them, I limit my time with them and I guard my energy. I'm going to be covering energy practices later that you can use to guard your energy as well. In fact, the very next video in this module is going to cover getting grounded, which is something that I do every day. I'll also cover calling back your energy and clearing your third eye, which is your pineal gland that we talked about earlier, is the receiver of your energy from the field. So all that's going to be in following modules. Another note about timelines before we complete this video here. You cannot change the script of a specific timeline. This is an important note. What you can do is change the timeline that you're on. The difference in these two things is important. You are a guest traveling on a specific timeline. Just like when you're a guest in someone's home, you can't change the furniture. You cannot alter the specific timeline. You can only switch to a different timeline. This distinction is going to be important later on. For now, I'm going to wrap up this video, and we will learn in the coming modules how to choose our timelines with our thought energy. There's one more video in Module 1 that I talked about. It's a good one. It's on getting grounded, so don't miss it. For this video, there's going to be no embodiment work. I just want you to understand the foundation of how the infinite field of possibilities works. So that concludes this video, and I will see you on the next one.